We're all happy about Tyler Bertuzzi. This is the kind of player I think, and a lot of us think, we need. He can hit, he's a grinder, he's tough, he plays the game like we love players to play it, and he's a 20-goal guy. Now, the problem I think with this situation is the contract is too short. Explain why. You think, well, Tyler Bertuzzi has to prove himself to us. This is the narrative. He has to prove himself to us. And then he'll get a longer contract. Well, prove what, right? Prove that he can stay healthy. This is the argument. I don't think that you can blame him for blocking shots and breaking one hand and the other. I think that's a bit of bad luck. And as long as those hands are still functional like they were before, which we don't really know, and that could be part of the equation of the 1 year, I don't see why the term has to be 1 year or why he needs to prove anything to us. The other thing is the back and the back surgery. He had a 30-goal season in Detroit on a below-average team the year after the back surgery. So I don't think that is a factor. Not that it couldn't flare up again, but it hasn't. So why should, like, it's not like, oh, we need to mitigate that danger by giving him a short contract. I think you could have very easily given him 2 or 3 years and people would say, hey, that's quite reasonable. So that's the start of the reason why. The second thing is about this contract length is that he's going to play alongside Austin Matthews on the left with Mitch Marner on the right as one option. What's going to happen? He's going to be a 20 to 30 goal guy. And if he has upwards of 30 goals and proves that he can do it again, what does he do? He either asks the Leafs for more money or he goes off to free agency and you've not locked him down. I think he's going to do it on that line. If Michael Bunting can get 20 plus goals on Matthews' left, I can get 20 plus goals on Matthews' left, and Bertuzzi can get 30. So it's strategically foolish because the risk of his health is actually quite low, but the chance that he's going to go off for more money next year is quite high, or we're going to have to pay more money that we don't have. If he's on a line with Nyes, John Tavares, and we trade Nylander, for example, for what, I don't know, but he's also likely to score 20 plus goals, which gives you that proof that he is healthy and can play a season, and he'll probably do very well if we make the playoffs, which we probably will. And again, he goes to free agency. So I don't like the 1 year. I think this is a 3-year contract. Would have been much, much better. He's only 28 years old, right? Why is Ryan Reeves getting 3 years at 36 years old and above the league minimum for fighter when Bertuzzi is a 20 plus guy and he's only 28? Doesn't make any sense to me. So concerning is that he only scored 4 goals for Detroit before being traded. Let's just double check how many. There are quite a few games in that year as well. So yeah, 29 games, 4 goals. And he went to Boston and scored 4 goals in 21 games. Maybe that's where the concern comes from. But it was in this year that he hurt himself, wasn't it? So we're not sure. Okay. In the playoffs, in 7 games, he got 5 goals and 5 assists. Now, if you're thinking, well, he should get a longer term because he's a playoff performer, which he clearly is, you know, that's the same argument you would make about Morgan Riley, who scored 3 goals in a whole year and then 3 in the playoffs. So he's worth $7.5 million apparently. So I don't know. Maybe there's a concern about his hands, but I think the playoffs show that he can still do it. I think the if you want to make a generous assessment of it, you would say in Detroit he was coming back from injury, and in Boston he was on a new team, and a team that was just chugging to the end of the season, just out of gas in a lot of ways. So overall, I like the signing for this year. I like the fact that we're looking at this kind of player. I think we all know that this team should be laden with 15 to 20, 25 goal scorers who are gritty, who will go in the corners and play the game, particularly in the playoffs. Personally, I don't care so much about the regular season. So the other thing I think in this, which is quite interesting, is Bertuzzi gets fans excited and optimistic. And that's what the team wants. That's what the organization wants. Because if you're not optimistic, you're less likely to buy merchandise, to buy Todd Bertuzzi shirts. I do not like the fact that Bunting was let go. I think for a 20-goal scorer at 4 or 5 million, whatever he is, on the left wing, that is the kind of guy we want, and the kind of guy who plays with some passion. Now, ideally, personally, I like power forwards like Bertuzzi a lot more than Bunting, but if we know Bunting can play that top line, he's scrappy, goes into the corners. At 4 to 5 million, I think that's great, and then you trade Nylander as we're going to see. Also, I think that puts Nyes down on the third line. And I said this before the playoffs. He's a college kid, a damn good one. But the percentage of college kids who come into the NHL and make an impact right away is very, very low, like 5%. So, I mean, the Leafs have done this ad nauseum throughout their history. The next savior. I don't think it's right to put him on the first and second line in his first year and say, we got Nyes, he's going to score 30, 40 goals. Not that he won't or can't, but that it's not right to do that to a college player. You want to give him a year on the third line, getting used to the speed of the game, getting used to the way defenders play, the speed of the game both ways. He was pretty good going forward, held his own, but defensively weak. And we want him to turn into a Selke nominee, right? So I think keeping Bunting would have made sense. Would have made a lot of sense. And I think guys like Yarncroc have to go. I mean, we don't need players like that. And, now we've got sort of Bertuzzi, Nyes, which looks good, but then who's your third line left winger? Who's your fourth left winger? It's not great, unless we get another left winger back for Nylander. So we'll see. Overall, good signing. Term is too short.